Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of Talking with F. Hope you all had a nice week. Not much to do, to be honest. Coronavirus is still going on. Just hope you're enjoying your quarantine, whatever you're doing. Hope you're doing it safely and not putting other people in danger. So, a lot of things have happened this week. I mean, let's talk a little bit about the corona in the UK. Well, in the whole world, it's gone quite up. Like there's been more confirmed cases, more deaths. Um, you know, in my opinion, I think it's just gonna keep going up. Um, it's gonna keep rising, and the amount of deaths, unfortunately, are gonna keep going up before we see any improvement. And hopefully, once that improvement does hit, we can start easing people off and going back to our normal lives. But let's see what happens. And the interesting thing is that ever since the coronavirus or COVID-19, as people call it now, came out, there's been a lot of conspiracy theories. Like, all you have to do is go on the internet and have a look at them. There's so many of them. Like, I've seen ones about the 5G network actually being the cause of the corona, about the radiation causing the illness in people. Which, to be honest, you never know what people are doing. You never know what the government's doing. I have noticed that they have started putting a lot of 5G towers up in the UK, um, and it's kind of mad if you think about it. Like, the whole world is on lockdown, the whole UK is on lockdown, and what are they doing? They're putting 5G towers up just so you can get faster internet, as if like 4G wasn't enough. Um, which makes me think, like, there's something definitely dodgy going on around there. But who knows? To be honest, who knows? There's a lot of conspiracy theories flying around. I don't know if you guys have heard of the one of China, Wuhan, where the virus originally came from. People have started saying that there was a biolab in the city where the virus outbreak happened. Now, some people are saying that it could have been manufactured, man-made. The virus could have been man-made and then given to basically infected people, and that's how it infected the whole world. But if you think about that, what why would the Chinese government do that? Like, why would they make a man-made virus, release it into their own city, and then put the whole country on lockdown, and then let it affect the whole world? Like, it wouldn't just affect China. Like, China, it basically affect everyone. And then some people are saying that it was something that the Chinese government was containing in a lab, and someone accidentally dropped something or caused it to leak, which basically affected everyone, which is kind of mad. There's a lot of mad conspiracy theories. I mean, I do believe in some, like, you know, when they do talk about some conspiracy theories, I do think, like, there's definitely something behind that. But with this coronavirus one, I don't know how much to look into it. I mean, it's already bad enough what's happening. Would it be man-made? Is 5G causing it? Who knows? Who knows? But definitely do your own research. Have a look into it. See what's happening, and let me know. You can always email me. You can always comment. You can always ask. You can always talk to me about it, and we can discuss it more. And what I've been doing quite recently is I've been watching a lot of Netflix. Yeah, a lot of Netflix documentaries. I don't know if you've seen. Well, it's a really popular one, Tiger King. Now, that documentary is something else. Um, Let me know who your favorite character is if you've seen it. Mine would have to be Joe Exotic. It's it's really crazy what happened and what they've gone through. Like, at the end of the day, if you've seen the whole documentary, you'll know that the guy is in prison serving like 22 years for trying to murder Carol Baskin, who I think everyone agrees that she probably killed her husband, which is crazy. Like, the amount of shit that's come out of this. I mean, the good thing is, like, when you do make a documentary like that, like, you do get people that they start talking about, they start talking about things that were fully carried out. Like, the example from this documentary is, if you've seen it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen it, pause the podcast, go and look at the series, and then come back and have a listen, and it'll make much more sense to you. But you have a character in there who's called Carol Baskin, and she was married to a husband who was a multi-millionaire. And what he did was, he was married to her for a few years, and he was gonna file for divorce and leave her with nothing at all. And then he just disappeared. She reported it to the police, and she goes, he was at home one day. He wanted to fly out, and he took his car with him, and then, well, the thing is, till this day, no one's ever found him. And a really popular theory behind that is that it was actually Carol that killed her own husband, and then by killing her own husband, she claimed on his property, like, everything that he had was hers. The maddest thing is that he wrote a will, and on that will, he appointed his secretary as his executor. Now, what that basically means is his secretary would have all the power over his estate, which basically is all his money, his assets, and everything. And the day he disappeared, I'll put that in quotation marks, disappeared, Carol Baskin broke into his office, opened the safe with her lawyer, and she was doing something. And then when she came out with a document which was apparently his will, where it stated that Carol Baskin was the executor for his estate. So she had basically authority over everything. If you don't think that's mad, like, that's proper mad, like, that's some crazy ass shit. Like, what the fuck was she doing? And the funniest thing was, when you do watch that documentary, is, like, in the will, they put a clause in, they put like a line in, stating that if her husband disappeared and within 5 years he wasn't found, they could declare him dead. And if they could do that, then everything he owned would go to his wife, Carol Baskin. And that's exactly what happened. So apparently he disappeared, they didn't find him for 5 years, and she inherited everything. She inherited millions and millions of dollars that he had, his whole property, everything. So if that's not some fishy shit, I don't know what is. Like, that's the maddest thing ever. Like, why the fuck would you disappear? Why the fuck would you kill yourself and leave everything that you've earned for the rest of your life? Just leave it wherever it is and then go and disappear. But the interesting thing about that documentary is, she basically she runs a place called Big Cat Rescue, where she wants to rescue wild animals. And that's the whole reason, as you go through the documentary, that she's after Joe Exotic. She was trying to expose him and get him out of business because he was caging animals and making profit for it. But she was doing the exact same thing, even much more worse if you think about it, because what she's doing is she's caging animals, and she's got people who are working for her for free. She's not paying them, and she's making millions or millions of dollars a year, which is quite mad, to be honest. But like I said, good things do come from documentaries and exposure. Like, so many people watched it, and so many people questioned the fact that did Carol Baskin actually kill her husband? That there was news reports stating that the police have reopened investigations into looking into her husband's disappearance. So we'll see what happens with that. And then I think universally, like, I mean, every character on that show was dodgy as fuck. Like, every single character on that show was dodgy as fuck. But I think universally, a lot of people did, like, lean more to Joe Exotic. Like, he did do fucked up things in his life, and he did do fucked up things whilst running his zoo and everything. But they put him in prison for saying that he hired a hitman to kill Carol Baskin. Now, if you really look into that show and they go quite deep into it, you can see that a lot of the shit that they said doesn't make sense at all. Like, why would he risk having a hitman that he didn't know paying him money to go and do a hit job? And the funniest thing is, the hitman didn't even do the job. Like, apparently what they said was he traveled halfway down, um, to Carol Baskin's estate where she lived, and he decided to change his mind, and he turned back and he went back home. Which, if you think about it, who the fuck would do that? Like, you're gonna hire a hitman. Well, if you're paying someone money to do such a big job, like, a person who, like Carol Baskin, she has millions and millions of followers on Facebook, and she has YouTube, and she has her own channel, and she has a lot of followers. And you're gonna put a hit on like a high exposed person like that. You'd at least hire someone who basically knows what the fuck they're doing, not someone who goes halfway down and comes back. But anyway, the FBI indicted him, and sent him to prison, and now he's locked up for 22 years. But positive of exposure, like I know I said about Carol Baskin, about them opening husband's disappearance case back up again for Joe Exotic. They did. I believe that the president's going to be looking into it. Donald Trump's going to be looking into it. There's a clip on YouTube where they questioned Donald Trump about the coronavirus in America and such, and what are the next steps that they're going to take. And one of the reporters asked him about Joe Exotic, and it's a little bit of a laugh. Everyone's jokey about it, but the president did say that he'd look into it. So I mean, it's definitely a positive for him that's come out of this documentary. Like, it's basically, you could say it's kind of saved him. Like, if they're going to start looking into it again and he is found innocent, which I believe he might be, he might be found innocent. Like, when the FBI did a case against him, there was a lot of dodgy shit going on. Like, they were just trying to find anything and everything just to put him behind bars. So I think that potentially they might find him innocent and release him, and he'll be back out in the world. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in the future. Another big thing that's happened is Boris Johnson. He was put in hospital because of the coronavirus. You must have read it all over the news. It was quite popular that he was suffering from the symptoms of the corona, and then they got much worse, and then he got put in ICU. And when that happened, like, a lot of people started thinking, shit, this shit's real. Like, if the Prime Minister of the UK can get it and get put in intensive care, then I think we need to be a little bit more serious about it, because even now people are taking a piss. Like, if you go outside, there's people not following the rules about quarantine. They're having barbecues, they're having parties. They're not really taking it serious. But the good thing is he's out of it now. Like, he might be a dickhead, and I might not agree with all his political standings, but at the end of the day, he is a prime minister. He is a man. He does have a wife or girlfriend, whatever. He has a kid. So you don't wish ill upon anyone. You hope that they get better. So he has improved a lot. I was reading the newspaper today online that he's out of ICU. So that's definitely a good benefit that's come out of it. So that's definitely good. Another thing that's happened as well is 6ix9ine got released. Now, I don't know if you guys know who 6ix9ine is. He's quite a famous American rapper, and he basically had the FBI investigating him because he was part of a gang. He got put in prison, and he was going to get like 60 odd years. And what they did was, the authorities in America, they said to him, we basically want you to be a snitch, and if you do, we'll give you a less like sentence. We won't give you such a high sentence. And what he did is he snitched on every single person. Like, he basically told on everyone that he knew, his manager, his crewmates, his gang mates, whatever part of gang he was. He told on every single person. He locked up quite a few people, to be honest. Like, if you actually go through the amount of people that he told on and the sentences they got, like, this guy was telling every single thing to the feds. And those people who got grasped on, like, they got like 20-25 year sentences, which is kind of mad, to be honest. And I think at the end of it, because of his cooperation, he got 2 years in prison, and then I think he got released early because of the coronavirus. And because of the coronavirus happening, as you know, they're releasing inmates from prison, both here in America and in the UK. Both in the UK and America, they're releasing prisoners because they don't want people to get infected and to prisoners to die from this disease. So he got released, and he's a free man. But it'll be interesting to see what he does, what kind of music he comes out with. I was looking at his Insta today, and he basically changed his Insta profile picture, his display picture, to it was like a cartoon character of him eating some cheese and in a rat trap, basically calling himself a rat. And what I think, to be honest, what I think he'll do is he'll probably put a spin on it and come out with the fact that he did snitch on whoever he snitched on, because they did him dirty in the past, and it was his right to snitch on him. So I definitely think he's gonna have like an angle to play from that, and it's gonna make him more popular. Like, at the end of the day, he was popping before he went to prison. Like, he was one of those outspoken people, and his songs were getting millions or millions of hits. And then when he got into prison and he started snitching on every single person, like his name basically skyrocketed. Now, and that's basically, I think ideally that's benefited him. Like, he'll make a lot of money from that. He's got exposure. Any album he does release, people will still buy it. Like, I know there's all this thing of like snitches get stitches, and you shouldn't snitch on people, which I agree to a certain extent with as well. But you know, it's a new generation, and people just do whatever they want to do for clout chasers. And I think he's definitely benefited from his whole ordeal. He's definitely become much more popular. Like, we'll definitely see what he comes out with. He's quite an outspoken guy, so he's gonna chat some shit. So I can't wait to see what he comes out with, and see who he aims it at. He's definitely get some hate from a lot of people as well, but I don't think it's gonna affect him that much. I think he'll just take it in, put a spin on it, and then try to make himself more popular and make more money off that. Which you can't fault him for that, to be honest. Like, you know he's hustling everyone, so you gotta give it to him for that. And that's pretty decent. Um, Another thing is that, like, a lot of people have started making TikToks as well. Like, I don't know if you guys know what TikTok is, but it's like a app where you can record yourself, you can make short videos, and you can record yourself doing dances or doing tricks, and people have a look into it, and they can subscribe to yourself. And that's quite popping off as well. Now, I remember when TikTok came out, and it wasn't as popular in Europe. Like, it was big in India. I know that much because there's a lot of Indian people that were on it, and I think they were the first people, like, who really embraced it. But because of the whole quarantine and everything, like, a lot of people have started going to TikTok, started making it. Might be just out of boredom. When you're bored, you do a lot of random shit, but it's really popping off, and there's quite a few funny things that you can see off there as well. Like, I was looking into them as well, and they've got some funny ass ones. Like, the funniest ones that I think are the Indian ones. Like, they just make me laugh so much. Like, they're so cheesy, but they're so funny as well. So if you do have time, definitely give TikTok a look, and see what that's about. And that's it from myself. Just let guys know that I am on Spotify and Apple Podcast, talking with F. So have a look on there. Well, subscribe to me, give me a listen, give me a download. Follow me on Twitter as well, at Talking with F1, and follow me on Instagram as well, Talking with F. And hopefully I'm gonna try to do these more often as I can. And I'll see you guys soon. I'll talk to you guys soon. See you later. Bye.